Good afternoon on a cold February afternoon, and that's part of the plan. From Captain Clumsy, off on a mission to find a very special pasty. Roll credits. Now, seriously, I'm going to take a slightly longer journey than I have been recently, and that's to test out the efficiency or the effectiveness of these heated grips, which I've just installed. I've been on a short run, but not yet gone more than about 10 miles, which I could manage without heated grips. So I've got them on a low to medium setting currently. I can feel them warming my hands through the bars. But my destination is about 25 miles, and on a previous excursion on another motorbike I found that was just long enough to get my fingers to the point of unpleasantness. Now, I do have to state that that was on a colder morning than this, so this is several degrees warmer than it was on that day. But nonetheless, I think it will provide a reasonable test. I think the temperature is 10 degrees, so that's just on the cut-off point for me of acceptability, acceptableness, whatever. You can see there's plenty of road salt on, so I might apply a bit more protectorant when I get back. Nothing coming past me. Yeah, so I'm not going to film much on the way there because it's just straight on the A roads. What I do plan to do is perhaps do a different route back, slightly more back roady. Okay, so I'll stop here and report back when I'm a bit closer to my destination. At a place called Devon, which is a nice little place on estuary near Falmouth, between Falmouth and Truro. Let's get moving. Now, I've got to be really careful here because there's a 30 limit in place and average speed cameras. Now, let's make sure we don't acquire a speeding ticket. Still 50 here though. It's only further up that it's 30. Right, well, first black mark to the Insta360. Beautiful estuary this. Got lots of birds and wildlife. Very scenic. Also an incredibly busy road. I'm just approaching Perranwyrddle. I think if I'd have thought about it, I might have gone through Perranwyrddle. Well, I'll do that on the way back. I'll explore some different roads. The speed camera in front, damn them, and they say it's such a dangerous place, and the locals all clamour for it, and then as soon as the cameras are installed, people who get done for speeding are the same people who clamoured for it to be introduced, which is Pyrrhic victory, isn't it? Yeah, just unnecessary really, because most of the time you can never get to 30 in this road. This is about as quiet as it gets, and you can see on the other side of the carriageway that it's still pretty thick, and that's because I think people will be starting to think about school and picking up their little loved ones from school. Lovely. Obviously I think it's probably put in because there's some rich people live here. It is a busy road. I think it's just about driving, and riding should be about maintaining sensible progress at all times, neither speeding nor driving like a little old lady. Now, you don't get points off your license for driving at a ridiculously slow speed, you know. It's just unbelievable. Right, so let's just explain the purpose for this little excursion. So it's twofold. One is to test out the heated grips, which seem to be doing their job. Have had a little bit of tingling. I'm sat on a middle setting, but nothing to cause me any real discomfort. So the other purpose is I go to find an almost mythical pasty. Now, pasties are the Cornish staple diet. It's taken very seriously. The Cornishman eats a pasty, and he has it at a certain temperature, and it's got to have certain ingredients. If I can find out what they are, I'll put them up here. Of course, I should know they sell quite home, but yeah. So it's a subject held dear to a Cornishman's heart. I'm not actually that keen on pasties, and also I'm a vegetarian, and now I'm celiac as well. So finding a gluten-free vegetarian pasty is pretty challenging, but I have found a place in Falmouth which does them. Now my only concern is it's getting a bit late on in the day, maybe they've all been sold. Last time I went to try and get them, it was they just didn't have them ready, and I would have had to wait half an hour, which I couldn't do. So yeah, this time I'm hoping not to be disappointed. Okay, come on. Just in front of us now is Falmouth and Exeter universities combined. They share the same campus here, but they are two separate universities, which results in a lot of problems. A lot of conflict, a lot of politics, a lot of infighting. So you would go left down here, and that's also one of the ways to Penryn, where I used to live as well. So it's quite a familiar area for me, although it's been some years since I've resided in this general area. So I'm going to take the regular route at the moment, because the part of Falmouth that I want to go to is right the other side, near a place called the Moor, near to another place called Trago, which is also another subject of its own. In fact, I might do some testing of the 360 lens at Trago, because they have a big car park which is not full usually. That's the Trago way over towards Liscard. Right, and left down there is Penryn, which is the way I would go when I was living in that area. Yeah, they're all going the same way. But I'm not going that way this time. My partner's son and daughter-in-law and grandson live there still in an area, in a similar area. A nice house. But he'll be working and she's here working, so I think the chances of seeing Rhodey might be fairly low. My grandson, lovely little boy. Beautiful views over to the left. See the sea in the background as we come over this hill. More than 200 miles in 4 months. Hey! Still, I'm being out. Right. Now, we should go left here, or we could go left here, but I'm not. I'm going to go right, because there's a slightly more direct me on something. God, what's that? Some kind of rug. Looks like an animal to start with. Yeah, and we've got a learner. Lovely. Actually, I don't think he's a learner. I think it's probably an instructor who's stopped off or something. So yes, a slightly more direct route to the other side of Falmouth, where this pasty shop is, and numerous other ones I hasten to add. Anyway, we're going left in this, eh? interesting house to the right. It's completely circular. I don't know whether it had a function previously or whether it was built as a kind of folly. The big poster up for Barbara Hepworth is, of course, she was the famous local sculptor. Has a gallery as a Tate St Ives, which is the arty-farty place in Cornwall, full of second homes and very expensive houses, which if you're genuinely Cornish, or even if you're interested onlooker, it does seem a bit unfair that if you're born and bred in this county, you can't afford a house here, because wealthy incomers from places like London come in, snapped up all the desirable ones near the coast, raising the prices to ridiculous levels, and then, you know, nobody can get them, so it just becomes a ghetto for wealthier people. And of course in the winter time they all go away somewhere else, so the places are then empty, so there's no sense of community. They're dead essentially. Falmouth Hospital to the left, I've worked there, or I've certainly been there many times with work. Still know people who work there. Right, you know, they're right here, because in this 20 zone, Tregenver Road. I do understand that the prefix Tre used to mean like a farmstead or something like that. So, I mean, Gander's farm. But probably other explanations as well, but that's kind of broadly it. I think I'll do an entire video on Cornish place names, their pronunciation, and some of the meanings behind them. Plus also some of the more comic ones, which have no particular sort of Cornish background, at least not visibly so. And whether we get pasty or not, me handsome, which is a familiar Cornish greeting, we will get some refreshments, because I'm getting quite hungry now. Let's have the visor up, get a bit of fresh air. Saying 11 centigrade, but altogether sure I believe them. Certainly bright but chilly. Bear in mind this is an Italian bike. Ciao Bella. Probably has a very optimistic temperature. Gauge. Gear change. Down there to the left is another campus of the university. Let's watch these people, because he's all right away, but who knows what might happen. Mr. Road Sweeper. Coming up to the left, the Fox Rose Hill Gardens are right now. Oh, looks like we're doing some work on there. Good. One of my favourite places when I come to Falmouth. It's a very pleasant, relaxing part of the world. Just sit around and chill, do a bit of mindfulness. Lots of B&Bs here. A friend of mine stopped very near to here when he came down a few years back. Yeah, happy days. Right, so we, I think, should be bearing left. Yes, because we want to go to the car park down here. Yeah, over there. Over there. And there's a loo, fortunately, as I'm bursting. Sorry to introduce you to my urinary capacity, but there's a thing called HPE, benign hyperprostatic enlargement. In other words, your prostate gland is pressing on your urethra, which causes you have to pee a lot. Lovely. One of the things about being a male and getting old. Right, let's see if we can find a little bay here on these. I think it's the official motorcycle parking. Oh, very nice. Now that is a bike I do like. I don't see those very often. I might take a snap of it when I got myself sorted. Right, so here we are. We're parked up near Event Square, which is just over there in Falmouth. You can see the National Maritime Museum of Cornwall, and all the various shops, eateries and so forth, and the marinas beyond there. My bike, the Moto Guzzi, is parked next to a rather sweet looking BMW R1200, dating from the 1990s. which I kind of wish I'd bought one back in the day, because it's lasted very well for a bike that's, what, 1998? That's 25 years old. Yeah, it's got all the accessories. Yeah, big heavy thing, but yeah, comfortable shaft driven quality BMW. Nice. Right, a young lady's just gone to make the pasty, which will take 15 minutes. It's a fairly expensive £7.15, so yes, you pay for the privilege. However, what I could do is go and get some chips from Harbour Lights Fish and Chips, and then go down to the pub down at the front, where you can have beer and eat your chips and pasty. Let's just explore the harbour area, which is lovely. There's the front real cellars of real ale. Sure they're open or not? They may be. Oh yes, they are open. So I could go in there and have a drink and pasty and chips. It's probably going to be quite expensive. Hey ho, treating myself. Why not? There's pubs here. Very familiar with these. The Chain Locker, the stable, the quayside. Been here many a night. It's of course a favourite haunt of the students who flock to the places. But actually the best pub is the front, because it serves the best beer by far. This is Carrick Roads in the distance, Deepwater Harbour, one of the 3 deepest harbours I think in the world, so they say. Just love that rest area and the so very English and so very much of its period. Beautiful mackerel sky, calm sea. You can see right down. Yeah. Just can't quite read the name on the far ship, but these are the fleet supply vessels. They're quite important, and they are based here. There's also a general shipyard too. There's another, I think that might be Coast Guard or perhaps something like that. And there are all sorts of vessels around here. Many private ones, of course, for leisure. Right, well, I'm sat in Ogle's pasty shop waiting for my vegetarian gluten-free pasty, which is, I think, curried something or other. Anyway, looking forward to that. I've already been to Harbour Lights to get my chips, so I'm going to try the front and see if I can get cider. So yeah, I'm an awkward cider, aren't I? If I go to a real ale pub and ask for cider, will they look askance at me? Hopefully not. Hopefully they might have some good quality cider, but I'm only going to have because I'm riding. Mission accomplished. At the front with my pasty, with my chips. Actually, I think they were rather expensive for what they were. £3.10 for chips now and £7.15 for a pasty. So I think that's going to be a one-off. But at least I've done it. Achieved my goals. Tested out the heated grips, which are doing their job excellently. I'm going to try and go back on a more circuitous route. So yes, keep watching. Starting the homeward leg now. It's clouded over a bit. Don't think it's going to rain though. And I'll go up this way. Spice it up a bit by taking a few back roads on the way back to make it a bit more interesting. Right, put the heated grips on, warm up a bit, and then I'll dial the temperature down so they always go on at maximum temperature, maximum setting, the heat. There we go. See, we got that tendency to just randomly stop at a mini roundabout. No traffic coming out any direction, and they still stop. Ooh. Right, well, if you haven't seen it, my verdict on the vegan gluten-free pasty was pretty mediocre really. If you're going to eat a pasty, I think you might as well stick to the box standard Comro Garden one, tried and tested for centuries. And if you're like me, just don't eat them, because I can't. Yeah, of course the kids have come out now. The man here wants to turn right, a woman rather. So Ocean BMW to the right, including motorcycles, hooray, which I've never been able to afford unfortunately. And actually I don't really like most of them. Did like that one I was parked next to though, earlier. This road has got a huge cycle lane, a huge footpath, a huge bit in the middle, and only 2 lanes for cars. Can they just narrow one of those down and put a middle lane in? No. We want to make car drivers and other motorists' life a misery. Fortunately, I'm on a bike. I can slide past. Not much fun going up this road this time. Probably I should have stuck to the other one. It's the Mercedes man. Here. Cute. Big framing place there. Vegan cafe as well. A gallery. The place is getting more poshed up, this sort of this bit, which was very industrial when I used to live here. So there's more and more twee little cafes and shops selling electric bicycles and such like. Good. Church is interesting. The churchyard is very good for photography, and there's a great walk down by the side of the creek there. Right. Place is empty again. And here we go. Used to be a laundry, I think, back along. I lived here. Yes. So we're going to go through the village of Perrinwell, and then on the sort of slightly back road. On the left. The Morgan garage. Yeah. I've hired a car from there in 2019. It's quite horrible to drive, really heavy steering, bone jarring suspension. Not particularly fast, but it was a great experience. Right, so we're on the back road, and more developments up on these side areas. This all used to be fields when I was working in this area, and now it's getting built up. Whether you consider it a suburb of Truro or a suburb of Falmouth, probably a bit of both, really. Of course, all these areas used to be mining districts. Now they're mainly residential. Yeah, it's a really good walk along there. But you've got to be careful of areas of mining waste. So I'm just going to go straight up the hill now. Carnan Downs. So the main road is just to the right, and this would have been the main road back in the day. So I think when I get to Carnan Downs, I'm going to end this video, because it's just another ride back on main roads. But I hope you've enjoyed this segment, if you can call it that. I talk about heated grips as I talk about the culture of pasties in Cornwall. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. I've been Captain Clumsy. You've been my audience. See you in the next one.